What's going on, folks? It's December 10th, 2013. I had a couple of weeks off because I got a new toy, PlayStation 4. Enough said. I got to see the last segment of Raw last night. I really didn't care about the rest of the show, quite frankly. I know that Daniel Bryan, it was in his hometown. He won a couple of Slammies, including Superstar of the Year. You know, that was given to by Shawn Michaels, a little tension there. But let's go to the last segment. The last, 15, 20 minutes of the show. And go into detail because from that last segment, we could have just seen 3 months worth of storyline on that night or just run-ins. Now, that last segment, Daniel Bryan heavy. I hate to hit my laptop quick. But it was Daniel Bryan heavy because Seattle, which is nearby Daniel Bryan's hometown in Aberdeen, really on fire. And I give credit to Seattle for that one. That was really organic. And the fact that Daniel Bryan's name and Daniel Bryan got chanted. It's like the chant went for about 2 minutes during Triple H's little spiel was classic. You could see on Triple H and Stephanie's faces that they were legitimately pissed because they were trying to give this match a bit more meaning, but that was Seattle telling them that Daniel Bryan should have been in the match. You know, it should have, in their eyes, and in my eyes, it should have been John Cena, the World Heavyweight Champion, versus Daniel Bryan, the WWE Champion. The rematch and the TLC match. But that's not to be, and Seattle let WWE know it. Now, I kept rewinding it to see the reaction of different superstars in that ring. Now, Miz was legitimately smiling. He was trying to keep a straight face. That didn't happen. Big Show, laughing his ass off. Tried to keep a straight face. He couldn't do it. Even Punk. Now, Punk, the crown jewel of this, was when Stephanie McMahon was basically just describing her husband, as the forefront of this idea, and that he's a 13-time world champion, one of the greatest of all time in Triple H, and CM Punk just laughed his ass off hysterically and shook his head and put his hand on his head. That was the crown jewel of that. But the crowd was just on fire, and the superstar reactions were just phenomenal. I mean, Punk couldn't even keep a straight face. Now, Punk and Bryan have been wrestling each other for years, Ring of Honor and stuff. They haven't wrestled so much in WWE, except for that last year where they had a string of great matches. But you would think in CM Punk's eyes, it would just be, he deserves everything he's getting right now. And that was basically it. Bryan was like a kid in a candy store. Bryan didn't expect the reaction he was getting during that segment. I mean, every superstar that either face or heel didn't matter. Almost every superstar couldn't keep a straight face because it's like, oh my god, this is really fucking happening. And when Mark Henry raised his hand, I think that was Mark Henry being organic too. And then that was Mark Henry probably just being, okay, let's stop this now. And it didn't. Orton came out, boring chants. Have you noticed for the last 2 weeks, and I'll get to this, that John Cena has sold and promoted the shit out of this match? Randy Orton hasn't done shit the last 2 weeks. And the fact that Cena promoted the hell out of this match for the last 2 weeks. Cena wants this match to be epic. It's just big time. And I don't say this a lot. I don't even say it on camera that Cena promoted the shit out of a match. Because most of the time you get joking Cena. Cena always throwing jokes and then he gets serious for like about 5 seconds. But there was no jokes from Cena. It was just full on straight in your face promo. Cena's promo the last 2 weeks has sold the shit out of this match. And Orton was just being Orton. He got booed out of the building. They were chanting boring. When Triple H was talking, they were chanting what? There was still yes chants. There was still Daniel Bryan chants. But at, I think about a minute or two, when Cena started talking during the promo, the crowd just got behind Cena. Because it seemed like Cena was shooting, but it wasn't. But to be frank with you, Cena has promoted the shit out of this match. And that's the main highlight that I wanted to get to. That Cena, when it came down to it, could do a solid ass promo. And Cena did that. In the last 2 weeks, last Monday and this Monday. Promoted the shit out of this match. I don't know how many times I could say it. I'm sold on the pay-per-view. I'm getting it Sunday. Me and a couple of friends of mine, we're getting it on Sunday. And we're going to see if, Cena can back up what he says. It's just the way that it came across. It's just, you actually believed every word he said. Especially when he talked about Orton winning the undisputed title and saying, this is the thing I've been accomplishing for the last 10 years, as if to say he hasn't accomplished anything in the last 10 years except for this moment. And that was just an all-around great segment. I mean, that was one of the best segments I've seen in probably the last couple of months of Raw television. That segment really took that match to epic levels. I mean, Cena and Orton matches have been subpar. There have been a couple of great ones. I mean, I know I stressed a couple of years, bitch a couple of years back about them wrestling for an hour. And then I watched the match over, and it's like, they pulled it off. I mean, they had to do it under no disqualification rules, but they pulled it off. I mean, it was a great match. And I think their I Quit match at Breaking Point was pretty good. Their SummerSlam match in 2006 was great. A lot of people were expecting Orton to win that match at SummerSlam. And that didn't happen. Cena won it, but it was a great match overall. If it wasn't for Cena getting injured that year, we would have had an epic last man standing match between Cena and Orton at No Mercy. But Triple H had to get involved, and, the rest is history. Now, the last minute of that, like I said, the last minute of that segment could have just built 3 months of story heading to WrestleMania. Or just probably been a blip in the radar. Now, when they were breaking Cena and Orton up, CM Punk tried to get, calm Orton down. Orton shoved CM Punk's face. Punk got pissed. Punk hit Orton. Triple H do Punk down. Triple H tried to calm down Orton. CM Punk turns Triple H around, decks him in the face. Triple H gets outside of the ring. CM Punk turns around. Sweet Chin music from Shawn Michaels. After that sweet chin music, Daniel Bryan hits Shawn Michaels with the knee, and then it goes right back to Orton, almost RKOing Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan pushes Randy Orton into Stephanie. Stephanie gets knocked down. Triple H sees this, pushes Daniel Bryan aside as he goes into the ring, checks on Stephanie, gets Orton up, pedigrees him, and Orton looking up and seeing the Authority and Cena picking up Stephanie. Now, that's the other thing, and I'm going to get to that in a couple of minutes. But that last segment could have been a chain reaction of the next storyline or next storylines going forward. You have Triple H and Punk, which it's a given because of Punk's promo last week, saying that Triple H is uncreative and stuff like that. But I think this rematch has been coming for a while, and I was thinking about this since the Authority storyline started, that Punk had to get involved in this because of the Daniel Bryan factor. And lo and behold, there you go. Punk is now involved in the Authority storyline. And his match this Sunday against the Shield is only the start of it. Now, will Triple H add a stipulation heading into Sunday with Punk's match and with Daniel Bryan's match? That could happen, just for Bryan assaulting HBK. Triple H could throw down the hammer, so to speak, and add a stipulation with Punk's match versus the Shield and with Bryan's match versus the Wyatt family, since there already is a 3-on-1 handicap match between both matches. It could be no DQ, so watch out for that. But that whole chain reaction, like I said, at WrestleMania, everybody, or me, and me for that matter, we could say DX versus Punk and Bryan. We could say Triple H versus Punk. We could say HBK versus Bryan. Or we could say Bryan versus Triple H and Punk versus HBK. No matter how you put it, if this is going the way I hope it's going, we're going to see two epic matches. Period. We could see the Punk Triple H matchup, the rematch from Night of Champions a couple of years back, which was a no holds barred brawl, which had a shit finish. I still hate the finish of that. That match was insanely good, though. I like that match. And Punk kicking out of the pedigree in that match, too, that made my day. But the shit finish with Miz and Truth and that whole thing, with Laurinaitis getting involved. That whole thing was like, didn't like the shit finish of that match. So you could be seeing the rematch between Triple H and Punk. And you could be seeing HBK pull out the trunks, though, HBK saying he's retired. The way everything's going is leading up to HBK returning to the ring at WrestleMania. Be it against Bryan or Punk, it doesn't matter. Everything's leaning towards Shawn Michaels getting back in the ring. But a Shawn Michaels Daniel Bryan match at WrestleMania will be epic. Teacher versus student. Teacher double crossed the student at Hell in a Cell. Student gets payback on Monday. It's all leading to that. And Punk and Triple H. That's authority versus anti-authority right there. So that's your Stone Cold versus Vince. Is Punk versus Triple H. Which I think I've been saying this for months too, off camera, that, once Triple H gets the power, expect Punk to be involved, and you could let it lead into another McMahon Austin with Punk versus Triple H. So the seeds have been planted for that. Now, the final image of Cena picking up Stephanie along with Triple H, and the last image of Cena standing with the Authority, while Orton looks on in shock. Heel turn? We're back to that heel turn conversation. And I know I'm going to get it from my friend who's going to watch TLC with me. Is saying, heel turn? I want the heel turn. He's been waiting on a Cena heel turn for years. Me, we've seen so many glimpses that I'm not even worried about a Cena heel turn at this point. I'll believe it when I see it. But that final image of the Authority with Cena leads you to believe, they're sowing the seeds for a heel turn. I mean, if they do, Cena could win at TLC with Authority's help. Okay, say that. Cena makes up for that promise and gives Bryan the title shot at the Royal Rumble. No. Scratch that. Let's start over. Cena wins the title at TLC. Challenges Bryan to the rematch at Royal Rumble. They wrestle at the Royal Rumble. Authority slowly gets involved. Cena turns on Bryan. Bryan loses, and Cena turns heel. Cena will be your heel champion. Punk could win the Royal Rumble, and it could be Punk and Cena at WrestleMania for the title. Cena could be Triple H's face of the WWE that they wanted all along. They just played Orton as a pawn. It was Cena all along who was the face of the WWE. They just wanted to place their pieces strategically to do it. So you have Cena win, challenge Bryan at the Royal Rumble. Cena screws Bryan. Cena turns heel. Punk wins Royal Rumble. Punk, Cena, WrestleMania. But then again, you still have the Triple H factor with Punk, and you have the HBK factor with Bryan. So you could still have your Bryan HBK match at WrestleMania, and you could have your Triple H Punk match at Elimination Chamber before WrestleMania. The groundwork is there. It's just that creative has to be on point with it. The groundwork's there. A Cena heel turn is possible if they play it right. But like I said, I'll believe it when I see it. But that last segment lets you think about it a little bit, with Cena standing with the Authority and Orton being a man alone. So you could either see another Orton face turn or a Cena heel turn. It's just that it's the way WWE could play it. Like I said, it's there. All the intangibles are there. With that last segment, you have all the pieces in place. It's just how they're going to use them. So, overall, that last segment really surprised the hell out of me. But that's what I like. I like surprise. I like everything being organic as far as the crowd was in Seattle. And Daniel Bryan was organic. He didn't even realize all of this was going on, He didn't realize that people were going to chant his name for over 2 minutes. And it was just a great segment to end a mediocre show. AJ getting screwed. That's stupid. But I'm not going to get into that. This video was focused towards this final segment of Raw. And it was, they had it in spades. Like I said, groundwork's there. You have a possible Cena heel turn. You have Punk Triple H. You have HBK Bryan. You could have All that stuff I just said. Punk winning the Royal Rumble. Cena turning heel, heading into Mania as the champion heel. It, Cena Punk headlining WrestleMania. It's all there. It's all there. So let me know what you think. I mean, if you have any questions, any comments, any suggestions, I mean, hit me back. But this is how I see it, and this has been one man's opinion. Take care, folks. Peace.